we are joined, as we are every single Friday, live at this time, by the head coach of America's team, Mike McCarthy, brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee Company on DFW. Look at that.
There we go.
They revved it up for Coach. As soon as they heard the intro, they turned on the fire truck. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Oh, doing great. So you're actually at the firehouse. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We remember last year you gave the firehouse the shout-out with the firefighters, and we continue to go ahead and play that on the station. So we're happy to have you back on. Man, awesome performance week one, Coach. A lot of noise around here, as you know, a lot of distractions. What did it say to you about your team that y'all went out and handled business like that and on the road against a really quality football team?
Definitely is, yeah. That first road win is always so important. Definitely right out the gate in week one. But great environment to play in. I know our guys really enjoyed it. But, I think like a lot of things, we had a really good camp, hit our targets, had a nice week of preparation going into it. But, it's good to win and still have a lot to work on. So, and that's what we've been really harping on this week is clean up the details because, we still have a lot of growth in front of us.
Coach, I wanted to ask you a question connected to the Tua story last night. I know a lot of times you don't get to watch those games, but Tua suffered another concussion. What has been y'all's players' response to the Guardian caps and wearing those in games? How did the players receive that?
Receiving in games, haven't had a lot of conversation about in games, but I know our players favor them. I think it's like anything new. There's an adjustment period, and you've seen that the last, 2 years. And but you're seeing guys, more and more guys wear them now. As far as in games, I think that the only, real conversations that I've been a part of is the new helmets that are out there. So a lot of guys are considering that because of their level of protection.
Bill Belichick said he's more interested in kind of even seeing his team in week 2 versus week 1. And Dak yesterday was saying that he sees a lot of times the most improvement from week 1 to week 2 with a football team. Do you agree with that, Coach? And why is that big leap a lot of times from week 1 to 2?
Yeah, it's definitely a metric that's supported. And I think just like anything, I think in today's, era of training camp and how it's handled and truly not, taking the field as a full team until week 1. So there's always that opportunity of, okay, hey, we've taken our first step. So we now, clearly know where we are and who we are. And you definitely have a chance to build off of it because, until you get out there and go a full 4 quarters in live action, it's really not the same. You try to simulate it in training camp, and then obviously with the preseason games laid out the way they are, it's definitely has a here we go moment to it.
Is it the communication offensively that generally that you find is has the biggest jump, or what is it?
Well, I think you can go all the way through. I mean, you can talk about your communication, your boundary communication, your pace operation, the on the field communication, all those things, the coaching headset interaction, but you do have it throughout the preseason. So I think the communication challenge all the way through you have a chance to improve on because anytime you line up, you have a chance to evaluate, correct, and apply. And then the fundamentals, I think if you watch around the league, just the fundamentals are something that you're really, really going to emphasize more than ever in September because, it's the time that you have leading into it.
Coach, you talked to, there's been a lot of discussion during the offseason about the running game and what that would look like and how the carry breakdown would look like. How do you feel like you guys handled that in week 1? And is that similar to the way you would like that workload to look moving forward, or do you anticipate some tweaks?
Well, I think the biggest thing in week 1 was the run attempts in the second half. I think it would have painted a better picture of what what the plan was throughout the game. But I thought the first half we were rotating the way I envisioned it. I would have liked to get some more opportunities. But then this week's a different game plan. There's different things you're emphasizing, both schematically and personnel wise, and then and we'll see how this sorts out.
Mike McCarthy joined us here at 105 through the Fan. So when you're up in a game like you were in the second half last week, and their offense clearly was not able to get anything going for the most part throughout that game, does you change how you call the game kind of based on what the other team's offense is doing, and is that kind of what happened in the second half? Because the offense did stall out a little bit.
Well, our challenge on the offense was the fight. We had 5 third downs. Obviously with Turks return, so we had less series. In the second half, but our biggest correction was the 5 third downs. I mean, 3 of them were plays that we felt we were clearly in position to execute. We just whether it was the mechanics of the protection or it was something that we could do better fundamentally. So that was the biggest thing for us offensively, because I definitely would have liked to got another score there in the third quarter and to really put the game out of reach even further. But and I think like anything, you see it all the time. If you don't take that opportunity there when you have someone on the ropes, then their offense can try to scrape and fight back, get in the game, and and they had some long series against our defense there when we were playing more of a I don't like the word prevent, but more of a shell defense.
Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy joining us here on 105 through the Fan. Coach, there was a lot of discussion, obviously, about the 2 young offensive linemen heading into this game, Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton. How did they grade out for you, and what would you like to see them continue to improve upon this week?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just get ready for the challenge that's in front of them. I think just like anything, now that they've played, their videos on film, you're playing another. A very good defensive line, defensive front. This is a very experienced front, but they played differently, from a technical standpoint. So they're both going to be really challenged this week, and I just want to see them build off what they accomplished last week.
Coach, there's obviously been a lot of discussion about the New Orleans situation and all the weather that they've been dealing with the, the hurricane making landfall. You spent a lot of time there in New Orleans, in that city. Just kind of your thoughts for them and that community this week as they prepare for a football game.
Oh, definitely. I mean, in my thoughts and prayers, I think any time you have a chance to be part of a community and, you deal with the hurricane situation there. I mean, it affects everybody. So, at home and at work. But hopefully everybody pulls through cleanly. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
Coach, one of the things that really has jumped out about your fantastic regular season record is handling the business that Vegas says that you guys are supposed to handle when you guys are expected to win or you guys are a favorite. And a lot of times, that doesn't happen in the NFL. Just look at week 1 again. What is your secret sauce to getting guys up for games that maybe are not as hype? Because Michael Lombardi told us anyone can get up for the playoff games, but how do you get your guys to handle business and get up for maybe the games that everyone thinks you're supposed to win, which you guys have done a great job of over the years?
I think it really points to our locker room and the consistency in our process. I think you have to, so much of what we do in season, there's a flow and a detailed scheduling focus on it that you have to get the efficiency of your play on the field as high as you can, and I think everything leading up to that helps that and supports that. So I think we do have a good process. It's just like any program that you're building as a head coach. It may take a little longer than you want in the beginning, but it's something that we have in place here. And then ultimately is our guys emotionally able to get up at a high level week in and week out, and we know everybody. We're going to get everybody's best shot too. So it's something that we keep at the forefront of our thinking and our prep plan.
You could argue that the Saints had the most impressive win in week 1. What jumped off the tape in their game against Carolina?
Really good football team, all the way through. You watched the study, into last week and early this week. We felt that the challenge is definitely going to be there in all 3 areas. So obviously the point production, but you could really see it at the end of last year. You look at their numbers from last year and the way they came out the gate against Carolina. So this is a playoff caliber football team we're playing.
Does it help you in the prep that they won in such convincing fashion that the message can be relayed, hey, you definitely can't take a week off because of the scoreboard that they put up last week?
I mean, the true reality in our game, you never have a week off. So, yeah, that's not even part of the thought process or even been entertained. So, no, they're coming in here and feeling good about themselves, feeling confident. We're obviously confident, but, we know we want to improve this week. We're playing at home. It's our home opener. So a lot of energy going to be in the building on Sunday.
Yeah, it is. What kind of challenges does Kamar present? I mean, he seemed like he saw the fountain of youth last week.
Well, definitely. No, he's a weapon. I mean, he's very detailed in his run courses and so forth. But, one thing you've always respected from him, when he hits the second level, he can take it to the end zone. So, he's a big time player.
Coach, how has Jake Ferguson progressed throughout this week and where you guys view him heading into Sunday?
I was doing well. I did a little more yesterday, so we'll see how he feels this morning and set a plan. But, he's getting close.
Coach, also, you're going up against Dennis Allen this week in the Saints, which is obviously one of the, Dennis Allen, one of the more revered defensive minds in the NFL. What kind of an adversary is he in terms of just the chess match that goes into preparing for a football game?
A very good chess match. Does a lot. He's multiple coverage defense. Has some really good pressure packages. So similar to some of the things Mike Zimmer does here. So he schematically is a big challenge.
Overshown is getting a ton of love, both from Micah, the fans, all of us, not just for the personality, but some of those plays that he made in week one. How do you feel about the linebacking group overall and what DeMarvion and other additions, Kendricks with a big first week, just how you feel about the linebacking group heading into week two?
Well, I think our linebacker room is excellent. Obviously we have some new faces in there, and it's great to have Demo back. I mean, I think everybody, both on our team and in the eyes on the game saw what he's capable of doing, with his impact plays. So it's just a really dynamic group. I just want to keep seeing them improve each week. So I think we've got a really good mix of veterans and young players there.
Coach, the average start on the kickoff, so you on the new rules, first game with the new rules, the average start when you guys kicked it off, I think it was around the 27-yard line. Going forward, as we get more data on this, do you see just kicking it deep every time and just giving them the ball at the 30 versus the risk of the long return may be the way to go?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's part of your game plan. We're obviously watching the analytics of it. John Fossil is someone that's was part of the installation of the rules and the changes there. So at a high level, so we feel like we have a good grip on what it's capable of doing. But you definitely watch the trends of the decisions, and at the end of the day, it's still part of the game plan. Whether we're playing indoors this week at AT&T, so all those things kind of factor into your thinking.
Coach, thank you so much for the time as always. Let's make it 2 for 2, and we'll do it again next week.
All right. Thank you, man. Have a good weekend.